What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Well, we went down this rabbit hole because we were coming off the pyramid and power sources and a couple other things. And so we were going to stop talking about the power sources. But the 500-pound elephant in the room during a lot of these conversations, though, has been the extraterrestrial possibility of things with this. And like when I look at the pyramids and how they were done, and you know, people try to fill those gaps and immediately go to stuff like that and say like, oh, the aliens had to build it. I can't say they're wrong. Also can't say they're right. But like, what's your stance on like extraterrestrial life? Has it been here? Is it here now? Did it have anything to do with some of the ancient technology we look at? Like, how do you...
Now we're getting in the real fun parts.
We're getting into the real fun parts right now. Tinfoil hat on.
So, okay. So I have two views of extraterrestrials and aliens, things like that. One, I'll just address beings that have nothing to do with us that live on... Maybe I have three different views. One, I definitely think from a scientific, not religious perspective, that you look at how big the universe is, you look at how big our galaxy is. Do you know how many planets are in our galaxy? The Milky Way galaxy?
Is this a trick question?
No. I could butcher this. There's 100 billion planets just in the Milky Way galaxy. 100 billion. And that's freaking nuts, dude. And then, you know how many galaxies there are that we know of?
100
billion.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's 100 billion times 100 billion? I don't even know. You know, but that's...
So you are saying, let me complete this for you. You're saying there has to be...
Statistically, it has to be. Now, that's my scientist, anthropologist point of view. If I'm coming at it from my Christian point of view, if it turns out that Christianity is correct and that's the one true religion, or Islam or Judaism or anything, it's one monotheistic God, I could also see the explanation that this whole planet was created just for us and all the sun and moon and the stars were created for us to look at, and it's as simple as that. We're the only ones that were meant to exist. But then I could also see that we're just one creation of a God. You know, we're just one creation in this giant universe, and there's tons of other stuff out there that's free to interact with each other.
And what if we're layers way below it too?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, what if we're not the end-all, be-all of all creations? You know, I kind of like drift off into this stuff. Now, what do I think of... I've started kind of developing these opinions recently. What do I think of, like, it doesn't have to be little green men in flying saucers flying around, but what do I think of somebody finding us? I think that's very slim chances.
Why?
Of being found. Well, you just look at, like, it's more slim than finding a needle in a haystack. However, I will preface that by saying I've thought about this. There's a scientist that I spoke to over the summer, and I love him. He's an Indian guy. I can never remember his name though. Yeah, his name isn't something that I can remember. But he's a freaking genius, and I could listen to him talk for like 6 hours straight. Turns out that Russian satellites and American satellites are finding bacteria material on the outsides of our space station. So it looks like there's microscopic, like more than microscopic bacteria, like floating throughout space. And so there's living material that's floating in space that's ending up out on the outside of our space stations. Like you wipe it off with a piece of cloth and study it, and there's biological material there. So the only thing I can think of is the only way that some kind of civilization out there among the stars to be able to find us, it wouldn't just be like, you know, throwing darts in the dark. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be that. It would be if they were able to develop a technology where you can look through a microscope and you can see high concentrations of biological material that's living. If somehow that material is coming from space, if you can calculate it and see where biological material leaves a planet and floats through space. So like think about like a thermal hunting scope. You know how you can see a heat like the white hot heat signatures.
Yes.
If there's like a biological signature that comes from a galaxy or comes like, they could probably look at a galaxy because, some of the stars we look at, you don't look at it and think of like, oh, I'm looking at a galaxy. But one little dot, that's a whole galaxy the size of the Milky Way. That's how far away they are. So maybe they look off into space and there's a concentration of biological material. And I mean, we're getting way out there right now. But I'm just saying that would be how I would think that we could be found, is if that kind of technology was created.
Well, to reel you in for a minute, we're constrained by the laws of physics as we know them.
Yeah.
That also, some of them haven't changed in a very long time because the evidence is compiling that they're very real. Mm-hmm. In my layman head, though, I'm constantly thinking about laws of physics not applying to more advanced civilizations. Like, we haven't been here very long. Mm-hmm. In the context of time in a galaxy, we're fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And so, like I had Michio Kaku in here back in April or May. Do you believe in God?
Well, I believe in the God of Einstein. He believed in God, but not the God that intervenes in human affairs. It was the God of order, the God of simplicity and elegance. Einstein was asked the question, did the universe have a choice? Is it unique? So universes, you can create universes in an afternoon, but most of them are unstable. Most of them fall apart. Most of them don't work. Our universe is stable. It works. Everything fits together. And then the question is, what set off the bang? That's what we do for a living. We have the Big Bang Theory up to the point where the universe is going to explode. Why did it explode? We think it was a quantum event, and we are here because we are in the universe which decided to explode. So Einstein said, was it all an accident? And he thought, no, it could not have been an accident.
And his thought process on the multiverse as a possibility. And he speaks about things in... What I like about him is he's not as defined on some things in the sense that he views them as like, and I'm putting words in like his mouth, how to describe it. This is my own description of it. But he views things as like probabilistic decision trees, right? Mm. And so he makes leaps as a theoretical physicist based on probabilities and is willing to change those opinions as we get new information. But when he talks about a multiverse and there being infinite versions of what we do right here, I translate that to simulations as well on top of each other. And to actually loop in what you were saying with like your religion and like there being a God and whatever, I think that the God above it, at the beginning of everything, there has to be something that created it. And so I think that's God, whether it's the Christian God, the Muslim God, whatever, or none of them. Yeah. There's some beauty that had to create everything, and how that thing began, God knows. Yeah. But in between us and the God could be, and probably is, in this scenario, infinite numbers of layers and simulations that occur between it. And an all-knowing God, if that's what he is, can have a relationship with all those infinite things at the same time, easily and ubiquitously. Yep. So he can love us the same way he loves pick a random layer in there. Yeah. Right? And so if it is also within that in these foreign galaxies, perhaps there's a level of control of the simulation on where we are, and we're a video game to them. We're somehow within it. We at least think we have free will. We probably do. But then the unexplained things can kind of be tied back to, that's because it all ties together perfectly. Just like you were talking about in our last conversation about, there's a cure. There could be a cure for everything in the world. Where there's an evil, there's a cure. Like these types of things that kind of can't be explained other than the balance of nature. It could be controlled by beings that also may have the ability to traverse galaxies and visit us.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's what it is. But.
Well, what I think you're talking about is literally right on the line with what is discussed in Oppenheimer when he's telling him, because these theoretical physicists, these quantum mechanics physicists, they were kind of on the frontier of physics. and they could feel a connection between two things, but they had to mathematically prove it. And what I think you're talking about right now is something that might not be proven for 500 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Minimum. Yeah.
But I think at the same time, Nikola Tesla, he was obviously a genius, and obviously the FBI knew it, because when he died, all of his studies in his apartment were immediately raided.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.